Hey everybody, welcome back around to the blog and grill. I am your host Doug here with your video blog for September 12th, 2015. Doug's Sports Blog and Grill is back for another great football season. We'll also be talking a lot of MLBs and we'll be talking some NASCAR as NASCAR heads to Richmond. Got the Yankee game on over here. If you see me look over there, that's what I'm looking at. I just want to welcome everyone back to the blog. I'm going to have some new contributors. We're going to have some guys live on here with me. Also, we're going to have we'll be back on sportsmindednews.com. We'll also be on the YouTube, and you can check me out on Twitter at YankeeBaller415. I got a lot of stuff I want to get to today, so I just want to get right into it. I'm going to talk a little bit of NASCAR at Richmond tonight. It's the final race before the chase for the Sprint Cup begins next week at Chicagoland. Also, I want to give you kind of a breakdown of the MLB playoff push hunt for October as we look at the best teams, teams with questions, and the team that I still think can gain the most and get into the playoffs. But first, with it being Saturday and football season kicking off tomorrow, as the full slate of games tomorrow kicks off, I will have my football picks for week one for you. I'll be picking against the spread all year, and we'll keep a track of the record. And when I have other people on, I will also have them making picks against the spread as well. So let's get to it. First game I'm looking at, Colts versus Bills. This will be Rex Ryan's first home game in Buffalo. They're giving Indy's a -2.5 on the road with the Bills. I'll take Indy. I'll swallow the -2.5 as I believe the Colts will win this game by about a touchdown to 10 points. Next game, Dolphins versus the Redskins. The Redskins are an absolute mess right now. Kirk Cousins will be their starting quarterback, and I don't believe a lot in Cousins yet. I think the quarterback matchup favors the Dolphins, and the spread does, as the Dolphins are a field goal favorite on the road. I will take the Dolphins -3 to beat the Redskins and make a run towards a playoff position this year, as I think the Dolphins will make it in as a wild card. Next couple games are a couple of 4:15 games tomorrow on the West Coast. First up, Bengals versus the Raiders. My Cincinnati Bengals with some question marks at some key positions on their team. Hopefully Andy Dalton can play a little better this year. I have Cincinnati winning right around 10 games this year. Bengals, though, 2.5-point favorite on the road at Oakland. I think Oakland's better with Derek Carr in his second year. Amari Cooper, very good draft pick, and some other weapons on defense that they picked up in the offseason. I will take Cincinnati, though, minus the 2.5 to beat the Raiders right around 24-17. All right, in another West Coast game starting right around 4 o'clock, it's the Ravens and the Broncos. Broncos are a home 4.5-point favorite. I think Peyton Manning's going to struggle early on against this Ravens defense with Terrell Suggs up front with the good pass rush. I like Baltimore in this game. I'll take Baltimore plus the 4.5 to win this game by a field goal. And then finally, Vikings 49ers. I think the Vikings have an outside shot to get in as a wild card team. This is the late game on Monday night, as there's a Monday night doubleheader. This is the late game. Minnesota's a -1 on the road at the 49ers. I'd be surprised if the 49ers won 6 games. Kaepernick has regressed. Defense has had a lot of issues. Players have left. I'll take the Vikings -1 to win the game by a touchdown. All right, time for your MLB playoff push. And let's take a look first at the best teams in Major League Baseball right now. And I think the two teams that are playing the best right now are the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Mets. The Toronto Blue Jays can just outscore teams right now. They're getting very good pitching from David Price, Drew Hutchinson, Marco Estrada, Mark Burley, R.A. Dickey. The whole staff is really starting to click. I like what they're doing. And then on the other side with the Mets, Yoenis Cespedes has put himself into the MVP race in the National League, and also the pitching has been great with Noah Syndergaard, Matt Harvey leading the way in that department, Zach Wheeler. Next year when Zach Wheeler comes back, this staff is going to be so much better. Nationals have struggled. I'll take the Mets and the Toronto right now as my two favorite teams in Major League Baseball. I think if we look at the teams with the biggest questions, first up, I think the Houston Astros, if they've started to sputter late in the year. Carlos Gomez has struggled to hit the ball. Jose Altuve still playing well for him, though. And they're getting good pitching still from Colin McHugh and Dallas Keuchel. But with the Rangers coming on in this division, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if Houston falls to a wild card position, if they can still make it into the playoffs. And my other team with a lot of questions has to be my New York Yankees. Pitching staff, Eovaldi's gone down. We've seen Sabathia struggle. We've seen Brian Mitchell go out with an injury. Ivan Nova hasn't been sharp. I mean, just a lot of question marks. We really need Tanaka and Big Mike to step up and pitch well for this team. And then just some more injuries. Mark Teixeira is going to be out for the season with that shin fracture with that foul ball a couple weeks ago. Brett Gardner's has some injury issues as well. So just coming down to a lot of injuries coming down at the wrong time. But, I mean, I think the bright spot has to be some of these young guys. Didi Gregorius now playing well. We've also seen Jacoby Ellsbury start to pick up the bat a little bit, and Greg Bird's really hit the ball well and played good defensively at first base for the Yankees in the absence of Mark Teixeira. And finally, my team to gain the most, the Minnesota Twins right now sit one game out in the wild card race, and they have a guy, Miguel Sano, who is absolutely killing the ball for them right now, up to 17 home runs on the year. I like the Twins to sneak into that wild card spot and get into the playoffs and play the Yankees in a wild card game, and it should be a very good matchup. The only thing I worry about is Minnesota doesn't have a lot of pitching, but the Twins are playing good ball right now. Joe Mauer's hitting the ball well for them, and I like the Minnesota Twins to sneak in to that last playoff spot. All right, NASCAR wraps up their regular season tonight at Richmond. Basically, the chase field is set with the 16 drivers that are in right now, according to points and everything, about a 30-point gap between 16 and 17. And if there's no new winner, that's what it'll be. But if there is a new winner, that is going to shake up everything, and that is going to make things crazy. Right now, we have 11 drivers with wins. And if we look at 2 drivers, I think there's one driver that hasn't had a win yet that really needs one, and that is Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon has ran well this year, but he hasn't run good enough. He hasn't had a lot of speed. We've seen him finish a lot of top 10s, not a lot of top 5s. Hasn't really been in contention. And we've seen him struggle over the past couple of weeks just to run up front and really be competitive. So I think Jeff really needs a win. And if you look at a guy who's already won a race this year, a guy that needs a win who ran well, really good in the early part of the year, but has kind of struggled most recently, it's Martin Truex Jr. I think the only bonus that Martin Truex Jr. has is that he's run good at the tracks that we're going to, because we've already gone to a lot of these tracks one time. He's run good at Chicagoland in the past. He ran good at New Hampshire. So we just got to look at Martin Truex Jr., and I think if he could get a win tonight, he could really solidify himself with 2 wins and kind of get a couple more bonus points towards this chase race, as the chase will start next week at the Chicagoland Speedway. All right, so Monday I'll be back. We'll talk a little college football. We'll have our top 6, as I'll give you my 4 playoff teams, my 2 teams on the outside looking in. We'll also have your MLB Playoff Hunt for October update. And as we do on every Monday, we will go around the shield, your 2-minute breakdown of every game, every score in the NFL. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter at YankeeBaller415. You can also check me out on SportsMindedNews.com. Thanks to my man James Williams for that plug right there. Also, you can comment, questions, subscribe to my page. Thanks for tuning into the Blog and Grill. I will see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend and enjoy the first full slate of NFL games.